Roy Keane hits the nail on the head with Carlos BAREBA Manchester United transfer verdict. The latest Manchester United transfer news and opinion has seen Roy Keane give his verdict on Carlos BAREBA Old Trafford links. It's been a pretty good transfer window for Manchester United, on paper at the very least. This weekend's clash with Arsenal will be the first real acid test of Ruben Amorim's new-look attack, having signed Bryan Mbeumo, Matheus Cunha and Benjamin Sesko. Despite spending around £200 million to bring the trio to Old Trafford, there are still a few positions that need strengthening. Carlos BAREBA of Brighton has been repeatedly linked with a move to United, which will bolster Amorim's options in midfield. The club are missing a holding midfield player who can protect the defence and cut out counter-attacks and opposition transitions. Casemiro and Manuel Ugarte are the current players who fit that mould, but both have struggled in recent seasons. However, Brighton have slapped a reported £100 million price tag on the Cameroonian for his services this summer. There's no doubt the 21-year-old has made a positive impression since arriving at the Seagulls in August 2023. BAREBA has made 77 appearances for Brighton, scoring 4 goals, though only 61 of those appearances have been in the Premier League. United legend Keane has questioned whether it would be right for the club to spend such an eye-watering fee. Speaking on the Overlap podcast, Keane said, "I'd be surprised if it happened. Because I still think that kid, he's got to do a bit more. You're talking about £100 million, but I still think it's potential with a lot of these players. You can't pay £100 million for a player where you don't know which way he's going to go." There's no doubting that BAREBA is a quality player, and you need only look at Moises Caicedo's transfer from Brighton to Chelsea to see how well a transfer could pan out. Good being the operative word. There's no doubting that BAREBA is a quality player, and you need only look at Moises Caicedo's transfer from Brighton to Chelsea to see how well a transfer could pan out. Good being the operative word. As we've seen throughout recent history, clubs are left to measure up whether potential and current ability are near the player's ceiling and their future market value. £100 million for someone who has made just 66 English top-flight appearances is ludicrous money, and it's something United themselves have fallen foul of in the past. Take Antony, for example, who arrived from Ajax for £82 million in 2022, 1 year older than BAREBA but struggled to make an impact at United. However, it's worth caveating that the Cameroon international has experience in the top flight and will hopefully only get better. The midfielder's current contract expires in August 2028, and United don't have the luxury of spending millions of pounds on a player who may not hit the levels expected of him. Of course, on the other side of the coin, this is the way modern football is going. At some point in the future, and it's ridiculous to say, £100 million for BAREBA may be viewed as a bargain, but that in itself is a silly statement given that as time on his contract dwindles, so too will his market value. There are other cheaper alternatives, and as Brighton have shown with the purchase of BAREBA in the first place, these young talents are out there and can adapt in the right environments. United was once able to hoover up all the young talents, like Wayne Rooney and Cristiano Ronaldo, yet now, their transfer tactic is focusing on the here and now. Keane is right to balk at such a fee. Manchester United stance on Carlos BAREBA before transfer deadline. Carlos BAREBA is unlikely to remain at Brighton for the long term amid interest from Man United in the Cameroonian. Manchester United are prepared to delay a move for Brighton midfielder Carlos BAREBA until next year. United have not completely given up on signing the 21-year-old before the transfer window closes on September 1, but senior sources concede a deal is unlikely. External sources have suggested a deal this summer is too difficult. BAREBA is under contract at Brighton until 2028, with the option of another year, and the club sold midfielder Moises Caicedo to Chelsea in 2023 for a then British record £115 million. BAREBA would be keen to join United, but he is valued at around £100 million by Brighton. United have already invested more than £200 million on Matheus Cunha, Bryan Mbeumo and Benjamin Sesko this summer. United still intend to reinforce their midfield as Toby Collier is set to join West Bromwich Albion on loan. Collier would prefer to stay, but United want him to play regularly in the Championship. There was some surprise that United did not move for midfielder João Palhinha before he joined Tottenham Hotspur on loan from Bayern Munich. Polhinia, 30, played under United head coach Ruben Amorim at Sporting, excelled in the Premier League with Fulham, and United have recruited 3 players from Bayern within the last 3 years. Agency sources said United would prefer to permanently sign a midfielder rather than bring one in on loan. Spurs have an option to buy Polhinia for £27 million. An obstacle to United bolstering their midfield remains Casemiro. The men previously reported that 4 different figures were given a mandate to sell the 33-year-old, but he is set to see out the final year of his contract. United have not received any concrete offers for Casemiro, who would have to be sold for £15 million to avoid a loss under the Premier League's profitability and sustainability rules. Casemiro's contract expires next year, and United have the option of an additional year but will almost certainly ignore it. United recruited Manuel Ugarte on transfer deadline day last year with the intention of him becoming their long-term defensive midfielder. However, the £50.75 million signing has underwhelmed and lost his place to Casemiro towards the end of last season. Ugarte, 24, had a mixed pre-season, shining against West Ham United in New Jersey before struggling against Everton in Atlanta. Ugarte started in 2 of United's 5 pre-season games. Amorim has to decide whether to play Bruno Fernandes with Ugarte or Casemiro in United's opening Premier League fixture against Arsenal at Old Trafford on Sunday.